To the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS live show here. We are looking at Wednesday's main slate here. 8 games on tap tonight. James, how are we doing?
Happy Wednesday, John.
Happy Wednesday.
8 games. Early slate couldn't have gone worse for me. Didn't stack the Braves, so that's I like Lucas Giolito more than you like Lucas Giolito.
I was trying to tell you that Lucas Giolito not great.
Look, I mean, Lucas Giolito or Shohei Ohtani, that could happen when you face the Braves, right?
Sure.
That might just happen. Braves play home run derby every 5th day, just with themselves. So that was the case. But we're on to the main slate. Yeah. We're on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati on this slate, not in Cincinnati, but they are on this slate, as Bill Belichick once said. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate. There's a little weather. There's some good pitchers at the top, and then it just falls off an absolute cliff. So there's a lot of interesting things. There's some interesting things we're going to get into when we talk some ownership as well. So fun overall slate here.
Yeah, 100%. Before we get into all of that, again, quick shout out to our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. Get new users a 100% deposit match up to $200. James and I are going to give you our favorite RT Sports DFS pick and plays of the day right now. James, taking a look over at Real Time Fantasy Sports here today. I did the RT Sports video that's out over on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out for today. A couple of my favorite plays that I was looking to target. We went for the 40xer last night. Came up a little short. We had some good moments. We almost got there. Bobby Witt came through late for us, going over his fantasy score and a couple of other props that we were high on here. But for me, I'm starting things off, going right back to the well. Ryan Mountcastle, more than 1.5 total bases. Gets yet another lefty today by the Blue Jays. Saw the Orioles do a ton of damage against Toronto last night. Mountcastle continues to rake. He's got Yusei Kikuchi on the mound here tonight. We're going to go over 1.5 total bases here for Mountcastle.
Love that. Only thing I don't love is I have to pivot now on the fly because we can't use my pitcher against
your hitter. Were you going strikeouts? Less?
I was going under. Okay. I was going a less than strikeouts. I'm going to go to Nico Horner over half a run.
Okay, I like that
as my pivot. He hitting atop the Cubs lineup once again. The Cubs lineup, I don't know if you saw, John, newly acquired Heimer Candelario hitting 8th tonight, which is...
That has, 4 hits yesterday? Middle of the lineup?
4 hits.
Got some
down. But Nico Horner has been excellent this year. He's been especially good at home. 302 average, 40 runs scored in 53 games. He has 11 runs scored in his last 5 games. And he faces Brandon Williamson today. And we know how good the Cubs offense has been overall lately, and righties have been giving Brandon Williamson fits. So I'm going to go Nico Horner atop that Cubs lineup, who are implied 5.7 runs. Nico Horner is going to score at least 1.
Yeah, I like that. Part of my video, I went to that game. I looked at Horner, and I do think that there's a good likelihood that he gets the over there tonight as well. So a big fan of that play here. Anything else popping out on your radar tonight for RT Sports pick'em plays? Maybe a little Mookie Betts action tonight against Hogan Harris here. 1.5 total bases is what I was looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I think both those are in play, the fantasy points and the total bases, just given how good he's been against lefties. I was actually another strikeout prop I was looking at to go under. I know Oakland strikes out a bunch, but Gonsolin hasn't missed bats at all this year. Only a handful of times has he gone over 6 strikeouts. Reached 6 strikeouts a handful of times this year. So I like the Mookie prop. like I said, if you're not playing the Mountcastle prop, I do like Kikuchi strikeouts to go under. Um, Baltimore doesn't strike out against lefties.
Right.
They're only at a 21% strikeout rate. I know Kikuchi has back-to-back like high strikeout games, but that was the first time like they've let him really go deep into a game. For if he gets into any trouble, they usually take him out.
Yeah.
So um, he also had a 7-run cushion. I think that was part of it, and I don't see that being the case tonight against Baltimore. So if not playing Mountcastle, Kikuchi, and I like the Mookie Betts prop, and I also like the Gonsolin under strikeouts as well. I know Oakland strikes out a lot, but Gonsolin does not miss bats.
Yep. All right. So there you have it, everybody. A handful of plays for RT Sports here. Again, you can go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. We'll get new users a 100% deposit match up to $200 for everyone there. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. You get the QR code down here on the screen. Take advantage of their DFS Pick'em contest that they got going on here over there at Real Time Fantasy Sports. James, let's turn our attention over to the DFS slate here. DraftKings, as we mentioned, 8 games on the slate. You talked a little bit of weather here. We are looking out potentially for this Minnesota-St. Louis game tonight. Has some potential weather impacts there. But other than that, not too much. There is a wind blowing in San Francisco, but it's a ballpark that usually handles and prevents the wind from being too much of an impact there. Mets and Kansas City has some wind blowing in and maybe some light rain potentially, but not anything we expect to impact the game here. And then Cincinnati, Chicago, we got some cross winds / winds blowing out. Nothing too crazy, 5 to 10 mile an hour there.
So per Roth, the winds are actually blowing out in San Francisco, and because they're so strong, there's actually, I guess, historic data to back that they helped bats. I know it's built the way that it's built, but 20 to 25 mile an hour winds are pretty significant. So especially when you're on, I don't know what body of water they're on, the Pacific Ocean. So, right?
What? Yes, West Coast, Pacific Ocean.
Right. So like, I don't know, whatever body of water.
They're in the bay, man. They're in the bay.
In the bay. Yeah. So there is wind factor there, I guess.
Sure. I was reading my arrows incorrectly. That's on me. You know, sometimes you gotta look up and down and see which way the wind direction's going. So blowing out, not in tonight. So but again, that ballpark generally, you know, doesn't have the wind impacting too much. But like you're saying there, Ross, saying that it could have a little bit of a boost. Arizona, San Francisco. I know we'll talk about this matchup because we did like the San Francisco bats here in this one. So let's just jump to it. Those of you who are tuning in here, if you have any questions, get in the chat. James and I are more than happy to help you guys out here tonight, whether it be DraftKings. If you have FanDuel questions, we'll be happy to help and answer those as well. If you have any player props, go ahead, shoot them our way. Again, we're here to hopefully get you guys some winners like we had last night, going all in on Baltimore, which may be a trend. Maybe a trend here going on right now as well. So James popped out. James popped back in.
I don't know what's going on here. I'm
here. You're clicking buttons, man.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about pitching then before we lose you again. Cole, Ryan, your top 2 price guys over 10K, but we have Logan Webb, Kodai Senga, Shane McClanahan, all up over 9K. When we did the show this morning, we were very much in on Senga against Kansas City with the potential strikeout upside that he brings to the table. Has anything changed for you when it comes to these top 4 starters?
Not
5 starters?
Not necessarily. I guess I'm surprised to see not a lot of people getting, or as many people getting to Senga and McClanahan as I thought they would. Everyone's paying up for Garrett Cole tonight, and I guess that's fine because he's been so good for 2 months, and he's a lot of people's picks, including Justin Vreeland. If you head over to fantasyalarm.com for the current AL Cy Young Award, despite how bad the Yankees have been. But like, I don't know what the win equity is for Cole. He's won one of his last 7 starts, and that's, again, not a fault of his own, but they just don't get him run support. He lost a game where he went 7 scoreless innings his last time out, right? he didn't win 2 games where he had 10 and 11 strikeouts. Like, it's hard for me to really pay up for Garrett Cole. Like, I get it. I'll play him if I'm playing multiple entries, but yeah, I'm surprised to see Senga and McClanahan checking in at such low ownership. Those are my 2 favorite plays, and it only strengthens that argument given the ownership. Like, Cole is projected to be higher owned at the top. Logan Webb is projected to be higher owned at the top. And Joe Ryan's right there with McClanahan. So, interesting dynamic to see the ownership here at the top of the position.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's interesting to see where the group think tends to be, right? Because sometimes we're in, sometimes we're off of it. We were dead on it right last night, right? Like everybody was playing Strider. Everybody played Lance Lynn. You and I were really big on Andrew Heaney, though.
Yep.
Heaney goes out there, has a monster night. Really only bested by the no-hitter by Framber Valdez, which nobody played Framber. He was like 3-4% in our contest. But Lance Lynn was 44%. Couldn't help himself. Still gave up 3 home runs to the A's, but pitched well enough there to get the job done for some fantasy managers. So, we'll see again if everybody's kind of getting to the top here. And when we looked at this slate, we didn't find any real mid-tier guys that we were that confident in. Has that since changed for you since our research done for the morning show?
In the mid-tier, no. It is interesting.
Yeah,
it is interesting. So Dylan Cease and Tony Gonsolin are second and third in terms of ownership. They're 2 of 4 pitchers, over 20%. And I kind of figured we'd see the Cease thing because we see Dylan Cease popular every slate. Just, I think, because, again, strikeouts, he can be dominant in that category. But it's a really tough spot. I know they just got shut out by Jesse Schultens, but, like, that's yesterday, right? We're on to today, and we know how potent Texas can be. Now, they've been obviously worse since the Seager injury, but
right.
I'm still, like, iffy about Dylan Cease. I like the upside at 8,400, so like I could talk myself into a play like that. Just again, looked really good in Minnesota and Atlanta, and then looked horrible against Cleveland. Right? Like, it's like that's been the inconsistencies of Dylan Cease all season long. Like, dude, he had a stretch where he looked great against the Dodgers, Rangers, and Angels. Right? Like 3 teams that could potentially make the playoffs, and then stunker against Oakland. Like.
Yeah,
That's Dylan Cease in a nutshell. So people are just playing him because the upside.
What's interesting about that is that the Rangers are actually favorites tonight, -140 on the money line. So
yeah,
you have an underdog starter getting some love there. Now, again, more than likely it has to do with, like you mentioned, there is upside here. They don't necessarily need to win. If he goes and strikes out 8 over 5 with an earned run or something like that, then he does the job. But when it comes to looking at win equity here tonight, with the White Sox not being a favorite here, it's not great odds. And actually, funny enough, even though the Rangers are the money line favorite, Dylan Cease has the better win odds over Dane Dunning tonight. Cease is +180, Dane Dunning +200. So figure that out if you want. If the White Sox win tonight, it's because of Dylan Cease, basically. Yep. I think is what they're trying to say.
Which is makes sense in terms of ownership if you correlate that, because you're playing Dylan Cease in a tournament because you know what he can do, but you also are playing him in a tournament because you're not playing him in a cash game because that's very unreliable. The Gonsolin thing, man, like it's another thing we have to wrestle with, because I don't want to play Tony Gonsolin in the slightest bit today. We said it about this is like, I don't know if he's a worse version of Lance Lynn, but from it, like, because I think he's probably better as a pitcher, but like Lance Lynn can do things that Tony Gonsolin can't, aka strike people out. I mean, Tony Gonsolin has 68 Ks in 82 innings.
Tony Gonsolin does have the best Vegas odds to record a win tonight. Again, probably not surprising, right? Because it's Dodgers, A's. But they do kind of like him. They have him -140 and over 5.5 strikeouts. They have him -145 on under 2.5 earned runs tonight. So, Vegas is in on Tony Gonsolin, but we've seen him just be very, 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 very bad. So you got to believe. Is Oakland that bad that Gonsolin just pitches well enough to get out of it? Or, are they able to put some bat on the ball here tonight and do some damage?
I mean, like we saw last night, they hit 3 home runs. And is that what Lance Lynn does? Yes, he gives up home runs in bunches. Gonsolin's given up 5 over his last 4 starts. So the home runs are coming off of him. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play a chalky Tony Gonsolin when he's had 1 start over his last 7 where he's allowed less than 4 earned runs. Like, what is appealing about Tony Gonsolin right now, other than he's facing Oakland, who, again, for what they are, and they are a historically bad team, they just have a bunch of guys that can hit, like, home runs here and there, right? Like, Rooker hit a bomb, Geloff hit a bomb. We know Blade can hit a bomb. Jordan Diaz hit a bomb.
Brown.
Brown. And Brown is it's all or nothing. So, like, I'm going to fade. And I think this is an interesting pivot to IC3U's comment here, John, about Grayson Rodriguez. Because I mentioned him on the podcast this morning. I still am kind of in on Grayson Rodriguez. What is Toronto doing right now offensively that literally just remove Whit Merrifield from the conversation because he's obviously been a menace.
Yeah.
What else in Toronto is scaring us right now? George Springer is actually like the worst baseball player in the league right now. There's no one worse. You cannot find someone worse.
No Bichette. Springer's
he's hitting 4th.
Awful.
Hitting 4th again.
I will say that Vegas does not like Grayson Rodriguez tonight. The Vegas favorite odds are under 15.5 outs. It's more than 2.5 earned runs. It's under 5.5 strikeouts. So take that for what it is, right? But Vegas not in on Grayson here. Vegas does like Dane Dunning. Over 17.5 outs is minus 130. Under 2.5 earned runs is minus 125. They have him over 4.5 strikeouts tonight as well, minus 120. So, Texas is a favorite. Dane Dunning, they have him kind of going 6, 1, and 5 tonight for his stat line. Could be a play at $6,100. I know I have him in a lineup that I built tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming in at lower ownership than I thought, and I guess I wasn't baking in that people are crazy enough to play Tony Gonsolin this much.
Sure.
So I'm definitely in on Dunning. Just for context, Dunning is 11% projected. Grayson Rodriguez 5% projected. So, like, taking a shot on one of those two guys if you're playing multiple lineups feels pretty good. I know, the Vegas numbers suggest, but I'm sure they suggested that in his last 2 starts against 2 divisional opponents as well, one of them being Tampa Bay, and he shut them down. So, like, I'm not saying that Vegas obviously knows a lot. They're very smart. They know what they're doing, but I'm not going to let that be the end-all, be-all here. He's getting deeper into games. The Dunning thing is just like, we talked about it on the podcast last night. We need the Boston start, because it's probably not going to get much better than that. I know the over 4.5 strikeouts he's done that literally 3-4 times this year in 23 appearances and 15 starts. Like, that's absolutely not something I would ever bet personally. I know the White Sox struck out a boatload last night, but, like, other than his anomaly strikeout game against Detroit, he has not been that guy. So I like Dunning. I just know that, like, he cannot have the San Diego start, even with a win. Like, 12 fantasy, like, even if that's a win, right? 12 fantasy points. Like, I'm not, we cannot have 3 earned over 5. We need to have the Boston start if we're playing Dunning, because I just don't buy the strikeouts.
I agree with you there, 100% for sure. Our guy Tyler here, is there a way to see ownership of players on the app? So if you're a member of the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro package, we have a draft percentage forecaster you can find on the menu. It gives projected rostership. Once slates have locked, you can go into the app and click the Players tab, and you'll be able to see the ownership for everybody in your contest. So go ahead and check it out that way. Any other pitching guys on your radar? Any other matchups you want to discuss here? We talked about going against Cecchini here.
Yeah. No one else that we want to use. The only thing I'll mention is, I guess, two things. Kikuchi getting a lot of love in Vegas. That's good for us today. And we had a pitching change. Dakota Hudson starting for St. Louis. At least that was from the morning. We had a lefty who was starting. Liberatore was supposed to start, but Hudson is
Yeah.
starting.
Hudson's interesting. Righties are hammering Hudson right now. Lefties not so much, but righties are doing the damage now. That game has some weather concerns. Twins, not a ton of their lineup. Maybe a one-off Buxton play, but
1, 2, 3, 4 in their lineup tonight.
Okay, so they threw a couple other good Jeffers maybe or Vasquez.
No, they're playing Vasquez, and they started Michael A. as well.
Faziel, who wants to know if the wind here in Chicago, it's only a slight wind, 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's nothing crazy. We do like Cubbies, though. We're going to talk about that right now as we get into the catcher position here, because one of our favorite catchers of all time when it comes to facing lefties, Yan Gomes is here. So $3,100, hitting 6th tonight, going up against Brandon Williamson.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with playing a Cubby stack. I know, like, oh, you guys are jumping on the bandwagon tonight after they scored 20 runs last night. I mean, we've been liking the Cubs for multiple weeks now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've mentioned every slate that they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball. They actually have the highest implied team total tonight, higher than the Dodgers. They're going to be very popular, the most popular stack of the night. And again, like, recency bias.
You score 20 runs, you'll do that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, recency bias can giveth and recency bias can taketh away. So, look, the Cubs are, and we're going to mention probably everyone in their lineup. I mean, their 8th hitter is one of your favorite player in MLB. So, like,
Tommy Candelario is one of my favorite players. Yeah, I can't believe he's hitting 8th tonight. It's actually kind of sad because I do have obviously some Cubs stacks there. I'll ride that chalk if I'm being a little different at pitching tonight. So I was all geared up. I'm like, I'm going to have a middle of the order here, hitting 8th, which is whatever. That's fine. You can get some low end wraparound play. We're in.
Yeah, Yanni checking in at. He's the 3rd highest owned catcher behind Will Smith and Francisco Alvarez. Those are the 2 highest. And the Alvarez thing is interesting because Reagan's is a lefty, and Francisco Alvarez doesn't. Like, when are we going to learn? He has not hit lefties this year.
Yeah.
So I find that a little interesting to me.
So again, Yanni at 31. If you want to play Adley again, I'm not going to tell you no. Will Smith, 56. Go forward if you can fit him in your lineups here tonight. Both of them obviously in pretty elite spots. We did talk Senga and his struggles on the road. So if you like Salvi tonight as maybe a contrarian home run prop play or something like that, he's $4,400. Tyler Stevenson homered last night, historically better against lefties. I do like Reds against Smiley tonight as well as a possible stack for lineups here. But as we move ourselves down, other than Gomes in this 3K range, anybody else on the catcher position for you?
I'll give you some love from yesterday. I think you were quoted as saying, we know Danny Jensen has some power, and he homered.
That's some power, man. It does.
So if you want to play him against Grayson, that's fine as a one-off or, in a stack. I don't dislike James McCann if you're playing Baltimore. Baltimore not getting a lot of respect here. 4.2 implied runs. Like, nobody is playing Baltimore.
I love when nobody plays Baltimore because John plays Baltimore and we win money. So,
McCann doesn't have like that great of numbers of late, but he's a punt if you're playing Baltimore stack. Other than that, there's not much time.
I agree with you. Moving on over to first base here then. Again, a lot of elite guys up at the top. Freeman, Alonso gets Reagan's here. Lefty. Bellinger hits everybody. Doesn't matter if they're lefty or righty, and he's $4,900. Your top guys there. Again, for me, it's an automatic Mountcastle play against Kikuchi at 36. But if we're not playing Mountcastle tonight, where are you looking?
I mean, Freeman has insane numbers against lefties. 341 ISO, 447 WOBA. That's second on the team in ISO and tied with Mookie Betts for first for WOBA. So another elite player just being elite against every pitcher. It doesn't matter the handedness. So I love Freeman. I love Alonso. I'm not playing Vladdy tonight. That's mainly because I'm taking shots in Grayson in tournaments. Bellinger's fine. After that, like, I don't love much. Like, if you're not playing Dylan Cease, I have no problem getting to Nathaniel Lowe. And I know he was incredibly disappointing yesterday. I had him in one of my lineups as well, but um, where Cease has struggled is lefties. 170 ISO allowed, 327 WOBA allowed. Nathaniel Lowe, 187 ISO, 381 WOBA. And we talked about it yesterday. He's been a lot better of late. So Nathaniel Lowe, 4,200, I could definitely get to. But yeah, Mountcastle 3,600 is just too cheap.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Again, I talked about it yesterday, and the number's only gone up since then. On the road against lefties, I know it's sample size, and we joke about it sometimes, but his isolated power number is now over 500. Like, that is just an absurd number here. Mountcastle just on the year, just hammering lefties in general. So 3,600, hard not to just plug and play. Mentioned Brandon Belt on the show yesterday.
Yep.
He also homered 2 for 4, double RBI home run there. So if you're anti Grayson Rodriguez, kind of like Las Vegas is on their player props, could be a spot to go play some of these Blue Jays where you're right, like the big guys aren't coming through, but then like Danny Jansen, Whit Merrifield, Brandon Belt, they're homering, right? Like they're doing the damage, and it's still getting done there. Brings us obviously to Wilmer. We talked about, again, going up against this Arizona Diamondback starter here. Wilmer homered the other night when he was in the lineup against Arizona. Obviously continues to be hot. He's 3,200.
He's hitting righties. He's hitting lefties. I'll never understand managers like not playing people every day when they're like scorching hot, and Wilmer's been that way. Surprising to see the Giants have such a solid implied total. I know Kecchione is making his debut, and he's been really bad at AAA and stuff, giving up a lot of power. But like the ballpark is in play here, and Arizona's offense, or San Francisco's offense rather, has been terrible. I do think they are one of the better value stacks of the day, maybe the best value. Well, the Cubs are still very valuable. So the non-chalky value stacks of the day is probably San Francisco for me, because looking at ownership, nobody's playing them. They're right around Baltimore and Texas for like in terms of ownership. I mean, they're behind, and this is hilarious to me. I think they're behind Minnesota and Kansas City in terms of like stack. Like Kansas City is getting more ownership than the Giants,
Yeah.
So I could get behind some Wilmer and some Giants.
Okay. And then I'll just throw some Cincinnati guys down here. CES at 3K, Newman at 3K, first and third. They got a lefty on the mound here. So, again, I think maybe there could be a sneaky.
John, we got some big lineup news here.
Yeah.
Corey Seager activated off the IL. And Brandon Beasley and Byron Buxton just scratched from the Minnesota lineup.
Well, there's that. Love the Seager activation, though. Tough if you're a Dylan Cease fan tonight, but good news if you're playing Dane Dunning potentially, like I am. So we'll get more run support there. All right, any other first baseman?
No.
All right, moving on over to second. Then Mookie Betts continues to harass these guys down here. Another home run last night. Again, his isolated power against lefties is absurd. It's over 400 on the year. Gets Hogan Harris here, so. Play him in the infield, play him in the outfield. Just play him tonight. He is my top spend up of my lineups tonight. He's the highest priced player I have.
Yeah, I have no additional.
Hard to argue, I know, but I'm just saying.
He's probably the top. He's probably the top spend up. I'm looking to see if he is the highest owned position player. He's the second highest owned position player projected tonight. Yeah,
who's the first?
We'll get to that in the outfield.
People playing Aaron Judge tonight?
No one's playing Aaron Judge tonight.
Okay, just wondering. Mid-tier guys. Morel's hitting second tonight. Kind of interesting there for some power pop there. Whit Merrifield at 46. Ridiculous way he's playing right now. Horner allow for a home run pop there. Talk to me about the mid-tier. What's jumping out to you?
I mean, the Morel thing is interesting because he hasn't been great against lefties, and his numbers against lefties have been pretty bad lately too. So it's surprising not to see like
Candelario there? Yeah.
or Dansby second,
Anybody?
or
Yeah.
like not just Christopher Morel, but like I'm not mad about it. Like we've wanted him to move up in the lineup for a long time. So I'm looking forward to the days where him and Nico Horner aren't both second base only. That's gonna be a good time. So yeah, Morel's fine. I think Nico Horner at 46 is a really good play. He's been excellent lately. Again, not reliable with the power, but there has been some power on display at times this year. With Merrifield, if you're not in on Grayson Rodriguez, Brandon Lau is a one-off play. I'm perfectly fine with. Honestly, I'm getting to some Zach Geloff here, John, and I don't know, like home runs in 3 of 4. Gonsolin has been susceptible to the home run ball lately. He's been really bad against lefties specifically, and that obviously doesn't help us here. But Geloff had against righties this year, small sample, okay? Like very, very. He's just got called up. 375 ISO, 420 WOBA against right-handed pitch. Look, we've suggested Oakland in the past, and I'm not like ready to go all in on Oakland,
Sure.
but we're gonna get to some lefty outfield options that later, and I'm gonna talk to you about Gonsolin over the last 30 days against lefties, and you'll be like, "Oh, sounds pretty good."
Okay.
And we're probably gonna play too much Oakland tonight, and that's fine. And by us, I mean probably me. So
Listen, I played Oakland last night and I didn't have any of the home run guys. It's just annoying. Like I had hits, but I had none of the home runs. So
yeah,
that was frustrating because why else would you play Oakland except for trying to capitalize on the home runs that Lance Lynn will allow. So
serve, yeah.
I'm with you though. There isn't really a lot of second baseman. Westberg, if you want to go there at 29, you could. Nolan Gorman, because listen, Joe Ryan has not been very good.
No, he's not.
So I don't know how much St. Louis you had interest in playing tonight. I know the weather is also a concern in this game here, but Joe Ryan's been bad. Strikeouts have been fine, but he's basically Lance Lynn right now. He's giving up 5 runs while striking out 8 or 9. So not to keep dumping on Lance Lynn every stream, but he's just like the prime example of a sucky pitcher that can save himself with Ks every now and again. He's not pitching like a 10K guy, so you might be able to go after him tonight with how many people are playing the Cardinals? Can't be many, right?
No one. But
yeah, so
nobody.
Goldie, Arenado, Gorman,
Newt Barr has been really good.
Yeah, so they could be a sneaky little contrarian play here against Ryan if the status quo for him stays the same.
Yeah. It's all about the weather, but he's been terrible. He's been terrible against righties specifically this year, which I find interesting. It's been a reverse splits type of thing. But Gorman's also been amazing lately. So especially in the power department, a lot of home runs.
Yeah. All right, moving on over then to third base. I mentioned Arenado here against Ryan. I think now kind of popping on my radar as a little bit of a interesting contrarian upside play here. Gunnar homered last night off a lefty, so I mean
he's been horrible against them, but
I know.
he did homer yesterday, and he has back-to-back games with home runs.
I mean, you said no one's playing Baltimore tonight, so
nobody's playing Baltimore.
If you say he isn't long for that game, we could see Gunnar in a good spot. So interesting there. Spencer Steer at $4,300. I know the Reds offense as a whole has kind of cooled off a little bit, but Steer and these guys were hitting lefties well at one point. He's coming off a 2 double game here, so maybe Steer at 43 if you like your Reds. Candelario, my favorite guy. I'm not going to not play him because he's hitting 8th. I'm just going to keep rolling him out. Totally fine with that at 42 for me.
That's probably where I would live as well. Maybe some Josh Jung if playing Texas just for the power if you're stacking against Cease. But I don't really have much to add, especially in this mid-tier. Like, you wanted to play Maikel Garcia against Kodai Senga. Garcia has some stolen base equity if he gets on. And we know Senga's not always the most has the best control. So there's definitely a chance that Garcia's walked and then just immediately steals second and scores a run and like already pays off. So that's probably the only name outside of the people you mentioned that I would.
Yeah, I'm with you there because I'm kind of scrolling down to the value, and there's again a couple guys we've already talked about, right? Newman and Westberger here could get to them, but there's not a lot else down here that I would consider.
Would you play Wisdom? He's 12% projected. Home runs in back-to-back games. I know yesterday was a pinch hit home run where he just came in when it was already a 12-run game. And
I don't think I would, but I get why people would consider it, right? 3K, home run pop.
And he crushes lefties.
Yeah. But
I would never, I think, play him at 12%. Yeah. If I lose to a home run from Wisdom hitting ninth, like he has a 40% strikeout rate, dude. Like it's
not something I'm looking to get to. Shortstop, Seager now back in play, or is he not? Is he not on the slate? Not on the slate. Tex, where is he? Or
no, I think
rather?
Yeah. They have not. I don't think they have released their lineup yet. Have they? Oh, they have. Maybe they're redoing their lineup. Okay. I got an update 12 minutes ago that Corey Seager was activated and in lineup Wednesday. So I'm looking through. There's nothing official on that front, like in terms of. I'll look up some Texas beat writers to see.
I was gonna say, see if we get a Rangers lineup because I don't even see him in the player pool. So
if you type in Corey Seager, he is okay. So yeah, Evan P. Grant, Dallas Morning News Rangers beat writer. Corey Seager is playing tonight. A new lineup will be forthcoming. Roster move to be announced.
Okay, yeah, skipping his minor league rehab assignment too. All right. Well, he's 5K, so
that is a great price for Corey Seager. He's been 6K.
Certainly in play at 5K.
He's been 6K.
Yeah.
Like if you look at his thing, he's been like 6K the entire for 62, 62, 63, 62. Look at this.
When was the last time he was under 6K? June
5,900.
June 19th, he was, or June 17th, he was 59. When was he 5K? When was the last time he was 5K? Was he ever
the last
under
522?
May 22nd.
49. He was $100 under that mark.
So yeah, so it's been like 3 months since he's been 5K. So almost kind of have to play him, right? Just by default.
He is firmly in play. Talk about the rest of the position. Like Wander, right? Like Witt, much better against lefties.
I was just playing Dansby, $4,400.
That's a cover boy of the Today Show. Yeah. I don't.
Rosario went 0 for last night hitting cleanup, which is kind of upsetting. We'll see if he's back in the lineup at cleanup. It's still a lefty, so that could just be the new normal lineup looking for the Dodgers. But he's only a couple $100 less than Dansby, so I'd rather just play Dansby at that point. DeYoung's $2,800. Has some power, but that's about it.
Lindor, I'd put Lindor against a lefty here against right.
Would you rather play Lindor against Reagans at 51 or Seager against Cease at 5K?
That's a valid question because the answer is Seager, but I wonder what that does to the ownership for Texas because they're not being rostered at all. And if they're not going to be rostered with a 5K Seager, that I'm probably playing a Texas. Going back to the well, they dropped the ball yesterday. They had 2 solo shots, Adolis and Garver.
Yeah,
so oh boy, I would rather play Seager in that question. I would also play Lindor because he's been really good against lefties again this year. But
sure.
I do submit to the fact that Seager at 5K is a better play.
Yeah, I'm seeing there's no BVP here for those two guys, and Cease's numbers in general like decent, so nothing like an obvious split matchup for him here. Seager 4K or Swanson 3.2 on FanDuel. Jacob, my guy, can you play them both I would probably. I don't know who's in your Util. I'd be interested in playing them both, but if I had to pick one, I think I'm going Dansby at 3-2.
I'm going Dansby at 3-2.
Yeah. If I'm picking one, I'm going Dansby. If I can play them both in a lineup, probably go there, but it's a better spot for Swanson for sure.
It's also not a discount. Like 4K and FanDuel is not a discount like it is on DraftKings,
Right.
where like we're getting Seager at a $1,500 discount than what he's been, right? Or at least $1,000.
Yeah.
Where like he's 4K every slate on FanDuel.
Yep. I agree with you. All right. Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Moving on over then to outfield here. Judge is your top price guy at 63. Robert is 6K. We've talked about Betts at 62. Carroll 59. Where are you? We're at outfield now. Tell me, who is the highest roster player of the slate?
Seiya Suzuki.
Is he even in the lineup?
Yes. He is hitting 6th, I believe.
Yeah, 7th. There he is.
7th.
Seiya.
He is the highest projected. Say what you need to say, John. You don't like him you don't like him being highest.
So here's the thing. I got a little thrown off because when we did our RT DFS pick and play earlier in the segment here, the show, my video included Seiya, but when we went to do it on here, it wasn't there anymore. So I thought maybe he wasn't in the lineup. So they just pulled the prop down on RT. Yep. I had more than half a run for Seiya in my RT Sports video this morning. So I was in. I thought maybe he wasn't in the lineup. That's why they pulled it down. Probably pulled it down because he was getting hammered. So I'm with you there. Say at $3,200.
I don't know if he's because he's been bad, and I know he's been good against lefties, but like even that's kind of cool. This is just a lineup
play, more so the player play, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just look at it for $100 more. Isn't Ian Happ more appealing? Just given.
Well, this is the wrong split side for Happ, though, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just been better overall. Sure. I mean, you tell me. Say a 133 ISO, Happ 102. So say it has them, but both kind of stink there. 321 Woba for Happ, 327 for Seiya. It's.
I'm just saying that Happ is on the wrong side of his split. So
sure.
Senzel's the same price. We know he hits lefties, but he could be in that game for 2 ABs. And then they put Friedel or Fraley in that game, and he gets pulled. Yep. So something to watch there. Kepler against Hudson, 3,200. We'll see the weather's like. Again, righty is actually doing more damage against Hudson than lefties, but there is some power and that bad for some value guys down there. We'll talk more value in a moment, though. Back up top here, we're in on Bellinger for sure. Seager now changes your opinion on Adolis here?
Probably. Okay. Lefties, again, have been better in the split, but I would play Adolis in a
Mr. Anthony Santander, grand slam for me last night at 4%. You're telling me no one's playing them again, so I will be playing the O's once again tonight with Anthony Santander in all of my lineups like he was last night. So that was...
Dude, they're getting no love in Vegas either. 4.2 implied runs is one of the smallest implied run totals. It's just funny because I know Kikuchi's obviously been better of late, but 191 ISO allowed to righties, 225 ISO allowed to lefties. We've seen it year in, year out. The guy just gives up home runs. He just gives them up and gives them up and even with this good stretch, right? Even though he's pitching well and he hasn't allowed a home run in 3 games, still allowed 22 home runs. He's allowed 22 home runs this year, despite not allowing a home run in 3 games.
Baltimore's the top 10 team in ISO, WOBA against left-handed pitching this year. So
yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'll be on the Orioles bandwagon with you. I think there's an interesting name up here, JD Martinez, who's missed a few games in a row with the hamstring. I'm assuming he would hit 4th and then Rosario maybe hit 5th. Maybe they keep Rosario 4th and JD 5th, but if he plays, he's interesting to me. Bellinger obviously is in play. I would play a Ray tonight. I don't know which, but one of them could go deep off Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole allows home runs.
Yep.
Steer, Nootbaar, Eloy, they're all
Porto down here at 37.
Yeah, sure. Him and Jock. If you want to play Giants, Jock Peterson has been a little better of late as well. But If I were picking the two, it's probably Michael Conforto.
Sure. Going down here, see if we can find some other values. Again, if you're not in on Kodai Senga, MJ Melendez is 29. Leotes is 29. Janikowski probably not hitting second anymore. We'll see how that lineup shakes out, but he's 28. Kiermaier hitting cleanup. Again, it's not their big bats, it's their other guys that are doing damage. He's
hitting cleanup.
Sorry, no, I don't know. Kiermaier's hitting ninth. Did I say cleanup? He's hitting ninth.
Yes.
I lied. He's hitting ninth.
I was like, I swore I saw Springer hitting. It's like, holy cow, they are. I'm playing all great. I'm playing 100% Grayson Rodriguez, dude.
Kevin Miller here, Seth Brown. Listen, we talked about him earlier in the show. All or nothing, right? We actually kind of like Oakland tonight against Tony Gonsolin. So, let
me give you the numbers. And also, you said Kevin Miller. Are we sure this is not Kevin Millar? The real Kevin Millar?
Cowboy up Kevin Millar? That'd be something.
Cowboy up. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. That's how he spelled it, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Millar.
We could only hope. We did have
picture.
We did have on the football show, myself and Andrew Cooper, Joel Pinheiro, the actual Joel Pinheiro, was tuning into our fantasy football show last year on Sundays. So a former Red Sox, Seattle Mariner, I think Cardinals, great. So that's fine. That'd be cool. We're in. I like Seth Brown, Blade, that whole crew again. What was the other one there in that?
Cody Thomas.
Cody Thomas was hitting cleanup for them last night. I think it was $2K. What's he tonight? Cody Thomas, $2,300. So paying it off.
Let me give you these numbers real quick, John.
What's up?
Last 30 days against Tony Gonsolin. You ready for it? Left-handed bats. 308 ISO, 350 WOBA.
Yeah.
70% hard hit rate.
Okay.
Those are. I mean, do with those numbers as you want. I'm just saying.
I will. McKenna's here, huh? Small sample size, 6 for 12 over his last 10 games, but doing damage. $2,100.
Two at bats tonight.
2 at bats, probably. Where was the other one that I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, Wallner. I played Wallner last night. Got pinch ran for after his double, but the at bat after that. But still, double, our run scored, hit. It's been pretty good. I know it's righties that do damage off of Hudson, but Wallner's still hitting 6, so I don't hate that.
Met stack, Johnny.
I don't play it, but you can. Reagan's right. So Lindor, Alonso, and who's the third?
Well, they don't have Pham anymore, so that was the third.
Who's the third?
Alvarez has been a little better against lefties. I was just looking at the numbers.
What's Vientos?
I don't know.
2K third base for Vientos, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, probably. He's also been terrible
Mets lineup just came out here. So we got McNeil, Alvarez, Lindor, Alonso, Vientos. So Lindor, Alonso, Vientos right there, 3, 4, 5. Jonathan Araz, remember him from the Red Sox days? He's hitting.
Dude, this lineup is
hitting
something.
7th. Ortega and Mendick ending there. So
is that Rafael Ortega?
I think it is.
Is he?
I think it is.
It is ex-Cub great Rafael Ortega.
Yeah. So
what a lineup here.
That is not a great end of lineup for.
Is Vreeland watching? Can we get a pulse check on Vreeland? Can we get a check on Vreeland
after the disengagement violation lost last night by the Mets? Yeah, probably not. Probably not great. Can you play Grayson on FanDuel?
He is $7,900.
I am not in love with Grayson as James is, but I think he only really likes him as an SP2 on DraftKings. I don't think Grayson is a FanDuel play, but I'll let you speak to him because you're a little bit more in on him than I am. So,
first comment of the day from Mark here: the Mets wouldn't play the Mets.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, welcome to the chat. I don't know. Looking at the prices on FanDuel, like McClanahan's under 10K. That's all I need to He's like the 7th highest owned priced pitcher on FanDuel. That's all I need to see.
Yeah, I don't think you need to get to him there because, again, Vegas doesn't think he gets more than like the 5th. He's got 15.5 out, and they're on the under. So you really need the quality start over on FanDuel.
Yeah, but Vegas is like, again, like we can pick and choose what we want in Vegas because like Vegas doesn't like Baltimore tonight. You know?
Do they not like Baltimore tonight?
4.4 implied runs, a little over 4 implied runs.
Yeah, but they're on the over though. So
yeah, I guess.
I mean, sure. I'm more so looking on the individual player props for players, and they're not really high on Grayson.
Yeah, I guess Kikuchi's not a big favorite.
Yeah, you could. I mean, if you're looking to spend down, you could go Dunning. Again, they got him going 6.
Yeah.
Get a quality start, get a win, price. Maybe 4 or 5 strikeouts. Doesn't get hurt by the hits or run or the walks. But
yeah, and the strikeouts aren't as necessary.
My favorite FanDuel pitcher tonight is Kodai Senga. Elite strikeout upside. Not going to get hurt again by the walks or the hits that are allowed to hit by him. And I think he can get you the quality start. So Senga is my favorite FanDuel starter.
I'll go McClanahan. That's my favorite. 9,700.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, let's give me your favorite home run call. Give me a home run call.
My favorite home run call of the day.
Yeah, give me your favorite home run call of the day.
Favorite home run call of the day, man. I feel like just going right to Chicago because it just feels right. I'm not going. I'm gonna go Mookie Betts.
Okay. I'm gonna run it back. He didn't homer last night, Mountcastle, but he did everything else.
He had a big day.
I think he goes Yabo tonight. So give me Mountcastle here over the for the home run play. My favorite stack of the night is going to be the O's. They're not that expensive, but they're going to be my top overall stack of the day. What's your top stack?
I mean,
you can ride with me. That's fine.
I'm just going to say I was going to use them as my value stack because no one's playing them. I was just going to say Cubs as my top stack. I think they're incredibly affordable here. And BZ just literally on cue really want to play the Cubs stack in single entry, but they will be popular. Now, here's where I will agree and disagree. And I think John would agree too. Like, you can play the Cubs. Just pair them with a Orioles or a Giants or Reds.
Right.
Like
a lesser,
be
contrarian with your other play and play the Cubs, basically. Is how I would go about it. Again, that's exactly the lineup I built. I have Cubs O's stack is my like core play today, so I'm just gonna ride that out with you there. What's your value play today?
Value play singular or like stack?
Well, I thought you agreed that all Baltimore the O's was your value.
Yeah, I'll go both. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go. You know, I always go pitcher here, so I'm gonna go Grayson Rodriguez.
Your funeral, not mine. I'm gonna go with Mountcastle. Again, I'll just continue to ride it out. It's gonna be a big night for Mountcastle, and if no one's, how is nobody playing him? How is nobody playing him? I'm all in there. He'll be my value play. All right, let's build a lineup. We're going.
He is, by the way. So he actually is the only Oriole that's going to be
like 15%, 18%,
11.
Oh, that's not owned.
He's the third highest owned first.
What's the highest roster percentage for a first baseman? Don't have to tell me who it is. Just what is it?
16%.
Okay. I'll live with it. All right, build a lineup here. I'm plugging Senga in. What's our I think we could play Dunning, but do you have a preferred other? Do you want to try the double spend? Do you want to go with someone else? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's all dependent on, do we want to get Dodgers?
If we play Dunning, we can get Betts in the lineup with the lineup that we like. So, catcher Jan Gomes. Don't think we're disagreeing, right?
Nope. Shortstop
Dansby. I think we got to fit.
You're putting Mount Kessler at first. He's 36. Yeah. That's a value.
I like Santander.
And a Cubs outfielder of your either Seiya or Happ.
Bellinger?
Whatever.
You said.
Well, yeah, I was just saying it for value if we're going to get Mookie.
Sure.
But we could play the two of them.
I mean, it just kind of fits.
It's like a glove there.
It's right like a glove. We do have 5 Cubs though. So if you didn't want 5 Cubs,
play Steer. Play 5 members of that game and play Steer.
Have someone come back.
Yeah, not like intentionally, but like it is a very good. That is, both teams have 5 implied runs in that game.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. So definitely a couple of different ways we can go on the slate here today. Again, we like spending up at pitcher for Senga or McClanahan tonight. If you want to get the Garrett Cole, you certainly can. Just tough because he hasn't had any wins really lately. I like Dane Dunning down at the value play. James is in on Grayson Rodriguez here in the mid-tier as well. We're kind of looking to stack potentially against the Dodgers tonight with some A's lefties. If you want to be different, we also like the O's, the Reds, the Cubs, and the Dodgers tonight. Maybe to Rangers once you figure out this Seager lineup position there as well. If you have any questions, get in the Discord. If you're not yet signed up already, fantasyalarm.com/allpro. You can become a all-pro member here, get access to our premium Discord and all of our DFS and season content for all sports as well. Fantasy football season right around the corner. We had $1 million winner just 2 years ago. Millionaire Mike, a single bullet over on FanDuel using the playbook, won $1 million. We also had a $500,000 winner last year as well on the Showdown slate using the Showdown playbook. So a lot of people finding success here with Fantasy Alarm. So get ready. Join with us here for the football season right around the corner. Become a member of the All-Pro football tomorrow, James. Hall of Fame game kicking off. James and I will be back tomorrow morning with the podcast. We'll be live at 5 o'clock Eastern, breaking down the slate. If you have any questions, find us on Twitter. Follow us. Like and subscribe, please, to the YouTube channel if you can. Get notified whenever we go live with all of our shows throughout the day, helping you guys win no matter what you're doing.